Welcome YouTube fans. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Welcome to my channel. I'm Darlene and I typically do readings for deceased loved ones or ancestors. And I thought today I would sit down and do this reading, and then something a little not that unusual happened, but it did. And I just felt moved to make the video anyway, and I don't know, maybe somebody out there will find this interesting, because I know there's a healthy, we'll say, curiosity for people who watch these kind of videos about what the process is. So this will be a visually uninteresting video, I'll warn you. I will at some point show y'all my face. I'm not really trying to hide, but I'm just not ready yet. And some days, you know, I just don't want to get up and fuss with my face and all that stuff. And I just want to, you know, be me. And it's just quicker for me to get these out when I don't have to do all that. So anyway, that's not important. So I'm going to just I'm going to shuffle and see if anything pops out. But mainly, I'm just going to talk to you today about something that happens, and I think I will call this video a gate crasher. And so that's what this is about, and I'll tell you a little bit about my process and then what I mean by a gate crasher. So also, I was looking at my notes over here. Please stay to the end. I'm going to tell you how you can get a free reading from me probably the 1st of December. I'll be giving that away, and so stay tuned to the end. I'll give you all the details on that. So when I do a reading, I said I was going to shuffle, and I guess I could do that. Watch my gnarly hands. I have a process. Most mediums do. They have their set way of doing it, and it's both comforting, but it also typically there's a process where you clear the energy either out of your cards or your room or your space or whatever, and then you do a protection ritual for yourself so that your energy is protected. Different mediums have different processes that they do, or readers of any kind for that matter. Even if you're just a tarot reader, and I don't mean that they're any less by saying even. What I mean is, let me restate that, if you are a tarot reader, or if you read ruins, or you know, other kinds of styles of readings, you're opening yourself up to the world of the unseen, things that exist that we cannot see with our physical vision. Okay, that's what I mean. And there is a veil between this world and that world, the seen and the unseen world. And so when you're doing readings, you open yourself up to that. You have to do that to bring the energy, to connect with the energy of what's on the other side. So we all have a process. And so my process, thank you, is I do all those things. If I have cards that I've used previously that haven't been cleared, then I'll sit and I clear them and I pray over them, and I do that. And then I typically will meditate before each reading and get myself in a really good higher vibrational place. And then I sit down at my table, and once I have all that done, I'll typically light some incense. And then I just sit quietly with my eyes closed, and then I ask my gatekeeper to bring through this, whoever the spirit wants me to read for today. So let me back up to that a minute. A gatekeeper, what is that? A gatekeeper, for me, now some mediums may have this, but they may put a different label on that. Or they may just say generically, or they might not address that specifically, and then some may. But for me, the way that I work it is I have a gatekeeper, and I have that for a couple of reasons. As a medium, you don't want to go around like an open sponge everywhere you go. So I'm able to close myself and open myself up. That way I don't have to walk around. Now, yes, I'm an empath and I can feel things even when I'm quote unquote closed for business for the day, so to speak. But it's not the same. It's just when you're doing readings from deceased loved ones, you don't want to just walk around open to that energy. So we usually have kind of an open sign and a closed sign. So this is my process by which I open the door, and I have a spirit on the other side who is in charge. He's like if you go to a club or something, you've got that bouncer at the door or that person at the door that, you know, lets somebody in. You got a ticket and he's checking your ticket, or you know, that sort of thing. Or some other event, you've got somebody there checking your ticket, or lining everybody up alphabetically, or whatever you choose, however you choose to look at it. So I tell my gatekeeper when I'm ready, and then I say, all right, bring through the spirit that whoever spirit wants me to read for today. And then I just sit quietly with my eyes closed and I wait. Sometimes they come to me even before I close my eyes. And then I start getting impressions. I get visual pictures of, you know, people or an individual or a family. And once that kind of coalesces, then they start telling me a little bit about their story, or if it's important or relevant, they may tell me how they died or something along those lines. So that's how all that works. Now, for me, I can hear, in other words, it's like, let me stop this just a minute and focus on what I'm talking about. So for me, if you can imagine, well, let me use one analogy. And I haven't been to the theater since pre-COVID, so I don't know anymore. But if you go to a movie theater and you come in the theater and you find your seat and you sit down, and maybe you've got some popcorn or whatever. But before the movie starts, before the previews and all that starts, you know, the lights are kind of moderate. They're not real high, they're not real low, but everybody's just sitting around quietly talking. This kind of this murmuring, this low, where they're being considerate of people. They don't want their conversation necessarily to be heard. So their volume isn't all that loud, but there's just sort of this overall murmuring that you can hear. Well, that's what it's like for me when I ask my gatekeeper to open the gate. I start hearing, I can see shadows, and I see a group forming, and they're like discussing and talking amongst themselves, so to speak. And then whoever spirit wants me to read steps forward. They step to my gatekeeper and through the gate, so to speak. And then they just magically are here with me, and whatever, not magically, but anyway. Well, today, and this, like I said, doesn't happen that often, but it did. Today, all that process was happening as normal, and I had somebody stepping closer, like just coming through the gate, and then this man comes through, rushing in, pushing the other people aside, and comes rushing past my gatekeeper. Now, for starters, that would never happen, really, if Spirit thought there was anything dangerous going on for me. That, I don't mean it like that. Please don't misunderstand. But there is a frequency. In other words, these people at the movie queued up on the other side that are, I'm just using that as an analogy, the movie theater, and the people like I hear that are queued up on the other side, they're in a certain frequency, and they have to be to come through, and Spirit has to put them in, or they already are in that frequency. And then I have to get myself and raise my vibration in a frequency where I can match that, okay? Or at least stretch out and reach it, let's put it that way. So this soul that came through is, I'm going to say, in a different frequency. They're in another theater over there, okay? But I'm on stage in this theater, and they're in the theater next door, and they want to talk to me. So they come crashing in the door, let's put it like that. And I, you know, personally, this is just me. I don't know what other mediums do, but for me, I always ask Spirit, well, all right, why is this person here? What do you want me to do about it, in other words? So I have to do a little quick assessment. Is this person malevolent? malevolent? How does that word go? Do they mean, are they just mean? Do they have an agenda? Are they, you know, whatever? I don't like to use that word evil. I really don't, because I rarely experience that. But let's say agenda. Or, like in this case, is it someone that's lost, air quotes, and they know, they can see, spirits on the other side know, or they can see, however their vision is, when there's a medium or somebody that can see them. They know that. So I think this person wandered into my purview, and then they see and know that I can see and hear them. So this person is lost. What do I mean by that? What do you mean they're lost? Well, the best, I'm going to see if I can give you a visual. If I was to put myself in this person's shoes, what it would look like. So if you can imagine, and I know we all have different kinds of dreams, but sometimes you have a dream that is particularly vivid. And so imagine that you're in a dream where it's very vivid and it's very dark around you. And so there's like this void, but you can just barely make out a shadowy figure, maybe on a horizon line a mile away. So you're not really alone, but you aren't really close to people either. You're kind of aware that there's somebody there. Maybe you look to one side and then you look to the other side and maybe there's somebody, you know, a mile away on that horizon. So you're kind of vaguely aware that there's something or someone else there, but you're really, for all intents and purposes, alone. And then you start to have a sense of, but where am I? And why am I here? And what happened? And then you start, in the case of particularly, for example, this man, they start to ask themselves, well, they start having a realization that they know this is not normal, but they can't remember how they got there, maybe. Some of them do. And then they oftentimes remember like their last memory right before they crossed over. This happens when particularly there are, it's a sudden death, like sometimes car crashes or sudden accidents. And what it basically means is that they weren't emotionally or mentally ready to go. They didn't have any time to prepare. Their soul was just thrust out of their body, and they don't really know they're dead. And so there is a frequency of energy. Remember, everything is energy. It's not really a place. It's a frequency of energy where they're wandering, these souls. And again, there's not that many of them. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And so I can't believe these cards are not coming out. I'm going to have to switch. Okay. Let me see what other. Okay, this one. So and you can't put a time, because time is only relative in the 3D, right? So time is, I mean, I don't know how long they've been there. Some have been there. I did a house clearing for somebody one time that had, this is a whole other video, but there was a spirit channel in their house, and some of these souls had been there, you know, for 200 years because there was a shipwreck and blah, 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 blah. But this person is more recent, and he's showing me how he died. He doesn't, you know, they're just bewildered. Okay, that's the word. This person, let's talk about this man today now. He is bewildered, and the feeling he's giving me is he's anxious, like and confused. I don't know where I am. I don't know what's happening. I don't know where to go. I'm lost. I can't see a door anywhere to get out of this place. I don't know what to do. And so for whatever reason, I believe that Spirit is the one that brings them to me, because they know who can do what, and I can help them cross over. Not all of it. Sometimes it's not ready, it's not happening, but a lot of the times, if they bring them to me, it's often because they need help crossing over. So I'm going to stop 1 second. I'm getting distracted now. I want to keep his energy here with me a minute. So this is what's happened today. The man came in. I did my assessment. I ascertained what had happened. He died in a sudden accident. He was a coal miner, and there was a crash of some sort. He's showing me just, like coal miners, when they come out of the mine, they're just covered in black soot. And he's holding his hard hat in his hand, and where his hard hat was, that you can see his skin underneath, but the rest of him is covered in coal dust. And he's saying, I don't know what happened. I was just working and something happened, and there was an explosion, and then I was here, and I don't know what happened. So essentially, and part of this is speaking from my experience now. I don't know what other mediums will say. Oftentimes, if this is the case, let me state that differently. Again, this doesn't happen very often. This is not a common thing. But when it happens, my experience is there is usually a traumatic event that caused their death, a sudden traumatic event, but also there is often a contributing factor that's holding them in the 3D, or that either someone in the 3D that's still living is having a hard time letting them go. They are having a hard time. There's still a cord. Let me put it that way. There's still a cord. And in this case, he might have had the opportunity to cross over fully, but because he still had a cord, he is in this limbo. And the cord he had was with his mother. He was apparently the child, I don't know if he was the only child, it kind of feels that way to me, that took care of his ailing mother. And so he just says, he keeps saying, I've got to get home to take care of my mother. I've got to get home. Can you help me get home to my mother? I've got to get home. He's just frantic with this. I don't know where I am. I'm confused. I don't know where I am. Can you show me? Can you help me get out of here? I've got to go home and take care of my mother. So then what I do, y'all, these cards are just bugging. I'm sorry, no action today in the camera. So what I do then is a process whereby I talk to him and I get his attention, and of course enlist spirit. They're here helping me too. But when they're in this frequency, they can hear me and relate to me because they're more close to the human experience. They haven't fully crossed over. So they can hear me, and then I talk to them and I say, for example, can you hear my words? Yes. And we just have this dialogue where I talk to them and I ask him, and I get the full picture like I've already shared with you. And then I do a process that's very simple, and I'm sure you've seen it. You probably heard it on YouTube videos for that matter, where I ask him to I try to calm them down, and I will not do this process on camera because it may take a little while. I'll do it after I get off. But I will calm them down if that's necessary, and try to soothe them into a place where their energy is calmer. And then I will guide them through a process that I do to help them cross over. Most of the times, 99 out of 100 times, they will cross over, and they will realize that that they have died, and that they realize that they can cross over and go fully let go of where they are, and then into the where they need to be. Anyway, blah blah blah. Okay, well that is I'm sure I could do a much longer video. That's just what I have for you today, and I just thought I would share that process with you. Many of you are very curious about how all that works, and that's why. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm talking to myself here. Yeah, the truth. So it's interesting. 4 Swords, healing. These cards are just reflecting basically my message. of what I was just saying to you. The four swords is, you know, it's healing, it's reflection, it's taking a pause, it's meditating, it's taking time out, which is where that soul was essentially, or what that realm or that band of energy is when someone is where I described to you. Truth, Spirit said, yes, that's truth. They are confused. This is in typical tarot, typical meaning rather of the tarot card. This is the Seven of Wands. It can mean standing and defending your position. It can also mean resistance. So in this case, he was resistant to move on because of his mother and his attachment to his mother and caring for her. Yeah, and that's the truth, the King of Swords. And he had, this deck is not stacked with, it's not, I'm not doing reversals. Y'all are having a hard time talking, I apologize. But the energy of this King of Swords is reversed. And to me, in the context of this reading, it says he didn't know what the truth was. He didn't understand the truth that he had crossed over. And I'm just going to keep pulling cards because, yeah, he was just in the Hangman. I love it, Tarot. I love it. Look, it's just so cool when it backs me up. Yeah, he was in limbo, the Hangman. He was in limbo. He needed to get a new perspective. He needed help, or needs, because I haven't done it yet. He still needs help. He's just kind of hanging out with me right now. He needs help. In fact, he's listening to this, and he's, you know, he's like nodding his head. Oh, that's what this is. Because, you know, he's hearing me. He's hearing this whole message. So he's starting now to understand. I can feel his energy shifting. He's starting to understand. And, yeah, he feels like he was just snatched, like these swords are snatched. This guy is taking those swords and sneaking away, but there's still two swords in the ground. So this is a representation of how he felt. He felt like he was snatched away, and yet part of him was still, he's still got one foot back here with these two swords in that world, and yet part of him is over here somewhere, and he's like feeling his energy is split. Wishing upon a star, yeah, hopes and wishes and dreams, and excuse me. And this is also something, a wish that is a long time coming, a very long time coming. So again, Tarot is just backing me up here. Wonder what's at the bottom of the deck. Let's see here. Yeah, aw, the Two of Cups. Yeah, aw, that's so sweet. Okay, and now for those of you who haven't been to my readings before, I don't read these cards like exactly like you would in, for example, a love reading. Because of the context of what kind of reading this is, it's a little bit different. So this doesn't mean a love affair. It means that he is feeling loved, that that Spirit is bringing him together with, to me, I take this as he's being brought together with his own soul now. This process, what we're talking about, what I will do with him when I get off camera here, is uniting him with his soul, meaning he's going to fully cross over. That it is so very sweet. Yeah, and this is just, yeah, and he's going to get his, he's going to his happy home, folks. For sure, for sure. I love it. These message, yeah, this was a hard message, but he's gotten the nice, uncomfortable or unexpected message here, and that he wasn't home. He didn't know where he was. He knew he wasn't home, but he didn't know where he was, and he didn't know how to get here. So that's just, again, Spirit backing me up, delivering this message to him, and he was in remorse. I don't know what to do. I'm anxious. I'm sad. I'm just remorseful, and this journey is taking so long. It's just like this is the slowest energy in the tarot. Well, second slowest. And now victory is at hand. It's going, the tens are the end in tarot, 10 of Swords. So the end of this man's struggle. Yes, the Queen of Swords says this is the truth. I don't want to go any deeper, but that's just tarot backing up what I'm saying today. So thank you, Spirit. That's really nice to have that backup. Well, I hope somebody out there gets something out of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to end it up there because I need to go and help this sweet man out so he can get on about his spiritual evolution. How about that? I did promise you, though, at the end, if you stayed, hopefully you did, that I would tell you how you can get a free reading. I will be taking one new subscriber and giving them a reading, and I will contact you. Well, excuse me, let me back up. So this is for new subscribers. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so, and then make a comment on a video. It doesn't matter which video, just say, I'm a new subscriber and I would like a reading. And then I'll get your comment and I will put your name in a little bowl, and the first week of December I will draw a name and I will make a separate video to announce the winner. Now please bear in mind that your name, I will be calling, will be your YouTube name. So if your YouTube name is Hello Kitty, but your actual name is, I don't know, James Smith, then I'm going to say Hello Kitty. So you need to know that, listen out for that. And then you can just send me an email, which will be in the description box, and then we'll schedule your reading. So that's how that's going to work. Okay. That is that, and I have a few spots for private readings open right now. Not many because the holidays are coming up, yada yada, but that's it in terms of business. And if you like this kind of content, please hit that like button, and I appreciate all the subscribers, people who like my videos, and also if you make a comment, because all of that helps to grow my channel, which is lovely. I'm very new here on YouTube, so I'm just getting started. But it also helps to spread this message to a broader audience, and hopefully messages get out to people who need to hear them. So thank you all so very much for being here. I hope you stayed to the end, and let me know, make a comment. Let me know if any of this makes sense to you, if you have an idea for a video you'd like me to talk about when it regards this subject, put that in the comments and I'll make a list and maybe we'll start checking those off. All right, everybody, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and everybody have a happy Thanksgiving for those of you in the United States, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.